It is happening. After 4 years in the Netherlands, I am indeed moved to the capital. And today I want to talk a little bit about this decision. About a month ago, I recorded a video where I was talking about consideration of moving here, and I also talked about how I moved to Amsterdam for a month to test the waters. You can check the video in the description, but the short version is I was living in Zwolle for the last 3 years, and I discovered that I'm not 100% happy there. So I started considering different cities in the country and eventually landed on Amsterdam. The decision that I've been wrestling about is that on paper I was moving away from the perfect life of suburbia, so to say, but my gut feeling was telling me a completely different story. First, let's do a little recap how my month in Amsterdam went. I spent the whole month trying to understand the city, trying to feel it, trying to recognize how I feel in this city. And honestly, I was surprised beyond belief. I was just genuinely enjoying the city and the life here. There were so many things to do and explore and events, and I was just going every 2 days. I think I was going to some event or meet up or trying to visit new place, new cafe, new restaurant. It's just a city where you always have something to do, and some might argue it's a little bit too much, but I think when you live here for long term, it's gonna be quite interesting to be an adventurer in your own city, to explore new things. So that part I really like in Amsterdam. Also, I genuinely enjoyed the type of people that I met here. There are a lot of tech-oriented people, entrepreneurs, founders, I don't know, developers, designers, all that stuff that I like. Interesting to talk to people, like-minded people, but also beyond that, I don't know, I just found that people here has this a little bit of ambition of a big city. It's really hard to explain, but when you talk to people living in small cities and talk to people living in bigger cities or capitals, you usually can see the difference after you're talking to enough. I really like this temperament, this kind of excitement that gets people going here. And of course, there are so many internationals from all over the world. I think I met already, I don't know, people from maybe 20, 30 different countries. But also, just generally being in the city, you always feel this certain type of energy, right? It could be calming, it could be energizing, it could be overwhelming. And I think Amsterdam has a very exciting, energizing, without being overwhelming. For example, if I imagine myself living in Paris or back in Moscow where I lived, I immediately feel exhaustion, I immediately feel overwhelmed. And here in Amsterdam, apart from certain parts of the city, especially touristic parts, city pretty much quite calm, I would say, but also without being kind of dead. I'm not trying to compare anything right now. I'm just trying to translate what exactly I'm feeling. And I think excitement and energizing are two good words that kind of bring you to feel being here in the city in Amsterdam. But at the same time, I was really afraid that the city might feel overwhelming, and I don't feel that at all. I would say it's quite the opposite. Some parts of Amsterdam is surprisingly relaxing, especially my area where I live. It's very calm in the evening. And of course, to other things that I was kind of theorizing before that's gonna happen here, and they did. First is biking as a lifestyle. Sure, biking exists everywhere in the Netherlands, but in Amsterdam, because the city is bigger, you feel like biking is a part of your life. Biking is part of your commute every day. I don't know, it's just a lifestyle here, and it's super nice. It can be quite dangerous, especially in rush hour. So if you're coming to Amsterdam, please be careful. Biking here is quite crazy, but once you're used to it, once you kind of find this flow, how to move around the city, you have to actually find it, whether you're biking or walking, because walking can be dangerous as well because there are so many bikes. So once you find this flow, you feel in the element, you feel nice, and you moving through the city like water. I don't know how to explain it. Of course, English is everywhere. That's no surprise. English is de facto the language of the city. You can hear Dutch here and there. My area actually quite Dutch speaking, I would say. A lot of Dutch people living here, I guess. But in general, yeah, you can communicate in English with everyone. Nobody really offended or feel weird using English. It's kind of language of the city. And it's super nice. I'm not, again, saying that you shouldn't learn Dutch. I was actually yesterday at the Dutch language school and I got a free trial lesson and my skill assessment. And there are a lot of going on there as well. The huge language schools, there are a lot of people learning the language who want to integrate better. Can happen together. You don't need to choose one or another. But as I mentioned in previous video, the months of course wasn't enough, but it was enough to make the decision, I think, to try something for longer. You know, like you have a trial period of some app or some service, and you decide in this trial period whether you want to commit for longer or not. It was kind of the same, so we decided to commit for longer. We're still, of course, renting the apartment here, so we don't have to commit too much. And with rental, you can always move out, you can move to another city. But I'm still glad I did this month. As I said in previous video, just listing the things that might or might not affect your quality of life for the better or worse, it just doesn't make sense. You still cannot understand how you're gonna feel just being in a place. What I recommend everyone, if you want to move somewhere, just go there for a month. I think it was an amazing decision, even though we spent some money on it and turned out we should have moved anyway. I still think it's worth it because you can feel differently. You can find some things that you just don't synergize with you. You can, I don't know, just not feel happy. That's the one thing that's very important, I think, is how you actually feel internally, not how you feel about foreigners or English or whatever architecture of the city. How do you just feel inside yourself without lying to yourself? Because sometimes, yeah, we can lie to ourselves like, okay, but I'm supposed to live in a big city, it's full of opportunities, stuff like that. How do you actually feel? I was asking myself this question a lot in the months that we've been living here and now still after we moved here. And I honestly just feel happier here, and it doesn't matter what other people gonna tell me about Amsterdam now. I just feel good. I feel like it's a city with a good fit for me, and every day I'm walking the streets and I just feel happy, just feel content, just feel like I belong in this place. I don't know, it's just hard to explain, but once you feel it, you know you find a place that's a good fit. That's the feeling I think is important to seek. But once again, I still understand that it is still a honeymoon period. To be honest, I think to realize honestly how do you feel about some place, you need to live there for at least a couple of years. That's what I'm gonna do, and that's where I'm gonna learn, and definitely gonna record new videos about the city and how I feel about it after some time, maybe after a year or two. Because there are still a lot of downsides to any city, and Amsterdam is no exception. Of course, the biggest one is the costs of living here. It's quite high, and it's one of the highest in Europe, especially in terms of rent. For me personally, it jumped up quite drastically compared to living in Zwolle. It's just, I guess, in the transition of changing my mindset in general. Before, I had this mindset of saving as much as possible, so someday I can live off my savings and investments. And I'm getting older, I guess, but I'm changing slowly my mindset to enjoying the life right now as it actually happens, because I may not have the opportunity to enjoy my fruits later, so I had to enjoy life right now. If it means I'm getting higher costs, then that's okay with me. I still have this nudging feeling that I left a perfect life on paper, because you're learning as you go by life that your goals are getting a house, getting a car, pretty much the direction we've been recently moving towards. I kind of giving it all up. I actually also thinking about selling the car as well, because it's quite useless in Amsterdam. It feels like everybody who is getting older moving towards that direction, and I'm kind of shifting it and moving towards different direction. Kind of feels like I'm giving up something important. But I also had before a few of those disrupting moments in my life where I was really in doubt, should I like shake it up everything and change? And every time I changed my life, it was for the better, because I was just listening to my gut feeling. I was thinking that I had to do it, just felt right at the moment. And this is another of those moments. And I think going with my gut feeling is going to be good for me. That's why I continue moving towards this direction, trying to ignore this nudging feeling that I'm giving up something perfect or utopian. Yeah, I'm now in Amsterdam. Right now I'm still in the process of selling the house in Zwolle. It's going with a little bumps here and there. I'm recording the video about the whole process as it unravels, so it's gonna be published as soon as the house is sold. But if you are planning to buy a house in the Netherlands, you can check out my guide to buying a house here, where I compiled all my knowledge about the housing market, how to buy it, a lot of tips. Soon it's gonna be updated with selling the house experience, so it's everything you need. Of course, you don't need to read it on the Kindle, you can also read it on the laptop, for example. It includes the PDFs and constantly updating Google Docs file, and I also include into this a couple of calculators that can help you on your journey, for example, mortgage payments calculator and a rent versus buying decision. Scan QR code right here or check the link in the description. I'm also, of course, after I move all the furniture to this apartment, gonna show you around the apartment, how much does it cost, what the area looks like. I just want to share with you these little bits and pieces of actually living in Amsterdam, the reality of that. In general, I'm planning to record more videos about the city. As I learn more about it, maybe I find something interesting, something unique, I'm planning to share it all with you on this channel, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I see you in the next one. Doei doei!